flute down here. But there are some physical differences, you know, because the flute floats, it doesn't rest in your hands in the same way. And so it feels a little bit different to play. But how it sounds depends on where you play it in the ISS. And we have a space station that is huge. And different parts of it, the flute sounds different. You know, in the Soyuz or in the Russian modules where there's a lot of metal, it reverberates quite a bit. In modules where there's more cloth, it's a softer kind of sound. I played very often in the cupola, because if you're going to practice, why not practice with the best view ever? But here on Earth, I play alone. I play mostly with other people. And so one way to bring them with me was to have their music up there with me, and then I listened to their music, and I played along as if we were together. And so I really liked bringing music up to the ISS and also sharing music on the ISS with folks on Earth. I did a great, I think, duet with Ian Anderson. It was very fun to do that together. And also I had a flute lesson with James Galway, very famous flute player. And I did some things with the Chieftains. And also I played some duets, some student duets that were written by a very nice flute guy that's written a lot of music for young students.
Okay, thank you. Paolo, Twitter. So you started using Twitter before you flew? You started to the ISS?
Yes, it was Cady who was guilty of trying to push me to use Twitter. And then, of course, the people Fulvio Fulvio, Erika, Maria really helped me in I'm blanking out here. In working, got up to speed and helping me up there and make it a useful tool and talk to you guys. I mean, it was relatively easy to tweet from up because you have such great and great pictures, and it's nice. It was nice for me. It was one way to share the experience and views I had up there. And while I was not replying very often, almost never to the tweet back, I would see them. And I'm telling you that from upstairs, I would read them, start laughing in the middle of nowhere, read and, wanted to reply, but the time is simply not there. The time and the visibility, at least for me, is not there. I know Cady did some tweeting. Ron, that just get back a couple of days ago, was tweeting. Mike. I mean, every person is different and find different ways and different times. But for me, I mean, sending out the pictures, it was a good way to make people participate. And I, again, can assure you that it was really nice to have all the feedback and read both on Twitter and what people would say.
Great. And you just mentioned that you didn't really find the time to tweet back, basically, because you were busy doing something on stage, on the ISS. And what was this something? Well, when you had a really tight schedule.
No, I mean, yeah, Twitter was very interesting. I mean, to me, Twitter was done late at night. I was supposed to theoretically go to bed at 10, but I seldom we went to bed before 1 o'clock at night. And that was the time in which I would look at the pictures of the day, read the email, call a few people, and tweet a little bit, send down some of these pictures. The rest of the day was, we were working on the station,
Yeah, but maybe is there, for instance, an experiment? You did experiments about the ISS that you recall as being especially interesting, challenging for you.
It's very difficult to answer this question because 6 months is a long time. I mean, I would say that our operational time was from 7:30 in the morning when we start talking to the control center, all the way to 7:30 in the evening when we finish with the daily conference, and then another hour, an hour and a half to clean up all the open action. So it was like 7:30 in the morning until 9, I would say. That was the time which we were working. 50% of that time was spent on actually making the station work, fixing things, putting things away, robotics, preparing for the shuttle coming, taking care of the vehicle approaching, and downloading things. And then about 30% or 35% was experiments. So I did a lot of experiments on Columbus, on the US side. and then we had to find 2 hours a day to do physical fitness and some time for educational activity. We talked to school, ham radio contests, which very important. I mean, all sorts of things like this. What was your experience, Cady?
Well, just like Paolo said, it's very busy, and the time is divided up like that. We had about 150 different science experiments on board, and they're really interesting. There's ones in the field of fluid physics. We're finding out, what do liquids really want to do? It's a question that's very hard to answer down here on Earth because gravity is such a big force compared to all these other really tiny forces that control liquids. And everything that we make down here on the Earth in a factory that involves flow through a pipe involves understanding what about those tiny little forces. And so we get to find out, because without gravity, those little forces are big, like surface tension. We get to find out what liquids want to do, and it can lead to things like understanding how to put a laboratory on a little slide on a chip so that out in the field somewhere you could understand, whether someone is sick or not, or how things are, what their body's doing. There's all sorts of really interesting implications for understanding fluids better, even for exploring further. I mean, when I go to Mars, I want to know how much gas we have.
Exactly.
Okay, for the way there and for the way home. It's really important. Well, if all the gas is floating around in the tank, how do you know? We have this one really cool experiment where we change the shape of the container, and by changing it just by 2 or 3 degrees, it guarantees that all the liquid is right on the wall of the container. So we know where the liquid is and can measure it. So that's just one of the many different kinds of experiments. A lot of medical experiments that we did where Paolo and I and everybody else on board were the subjects of that. A lot of interesting osteoporosis research that involves the physical fitness that we did, and as well as doing some experiments with osteoporosis drugs. And I think we've come a long way towards bringing people back home healthier so that we can send them off again on bigger journeys.
Okay, so I guess the room is full of people that would like to know or have special questions for you guys. So, who would like to be the first one to ask a question? Okay. We start over here with the ladies, and I need another microphone.
By the way, I wanted to ask you how to be efficient in Twitter, because I'm looking at you guys sending up this 1,000 of tweets very fast, very quick, very pertinent, and I feel really a novice there. I was barely able to, take half an hour to write 140 characters there. I mean, it sounds strange, but it's much more difficult for me to be short than be long. So I don't know how you do it. Maybe you can come up with a compendium, and I will take it with pleasure.
Okay, who wants to be the social media advisor to ESA's Paolo Nespoli and give a short answer in like 2.5 minutes, or even 2?
Let's go with question. We can take this one later.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm spacetweetup. I persuaded Paolo to go on Twitter, and I actually handwrote him an instruction sheet on how to do it. So if you want a compendium, then I'll handwrite another one for you. What I want to know, Paolo, you were so great. You were wonderful when you were in space, and you were tweeting, and I felt so proud of you. But then you came back and you stopped.
Well, that's an embarrassing thing, but
I'll say that going to space on a long-duration mission, what I'm telling the new people who are going is that you should think of it like a year-long journey that starts with a 6-month space flight. But coming home and being home is a journey in itself. And Paolo and I haven't actually even seen each other all that much, but I think his life is like mine, where suddenly you're back home and you're just so busy with the debriefs, telling people how things could be better up on the station, and just, relaxing a little bit, introducing yourself back to your family. It's somehow every day is really, really busy, and I haven't actually been Twittering either, but I keep meaning to start, and maybe today's the day.
Well, Kate, I thought about this thing, and of course I wanted to come back and keep going. I have, by the way, I shot something like 24,000 pictures in space, and I looked maybe at a couple of thousand and selected 500, but I still feel, I have a lot of pictures that I can still tweet probably for the next year, even one a day or just a couple of years. I just have to get to it. I mean, I'm going around with the hard drive. Okay, did we? Is that where to go?
Unfortunately,
Alright, okay, we'll do one thing. We need to go because something, but we'll promise you're here, we'll be back and finish up with questions. And,
fantastic.
And sign some autographs or something and say hello to you and thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all your help and your place up there.
Cady, Paolo, thank you. So see you soon.